We'll call to order the meeting of the New Palestine Planning Commission. Why don't we start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your
Thank
stuff
you.
is up there.
The first item on our agenda. Well, let's do a roll call.
Yes.
How about that?
This is like all over again.
How are you doing?
Okay. All right. Ryan Hartley,
Here.
Chris Wernemott,
Not present.
Bill Niemeyer,
Here.
Ted Morlander,
Here.
Eric Kropp,
Here.
Nancy Owen. Here. And Ron Wally is out.
He's in Florida.
Yes.
So, thank you very much. We have a quorum. The first item on our agenda is consideration of the minutes from our meeting of February 5th. Hopefully, everybody's had an opportunity to review the minutes. Is there a motion regarding the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented in our packet here.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, edits, discussions, comments regarding the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the meeting of February 5th as presented in the backup materials, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries and the minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is consideration of the comprehensive plan.
Hello again.
Hi.
It's good to see everyone. Well, just to recap from our last meeting, we presented the 2025 comprehensive plan to you all, and there were some technical edits that it sounded like we needed to work through, and it was the decision of the Plan Commission to hold off on positively approving the comprehensive plan until those edits were taken care of. We took care of those. I think the only kind of substantial edits that were recommended had to do with what was actually the Hancock County comprehensive plan that we listed in the appendix of the document. So we couldn't really change that. It was just a reference point. I think Town of Shirley, there was some confusion there. So I think we affixed that page to make it more obvious that it is part of the appendix and not a part of the actual comprehensive plan. Other than that, I had sent the updated comprehensive plan inclusive of those technical edits to to Jenny last Tuesday. So you've had just over a week to review, and we're happy to kind of open the floor for any questions that have come up since then, and kind of take it from there.
Okay, thank you. Any members of the Plan Commission have any questions or comments regarding the plan?
I have several comments, but I know last time I had a lot of discussion points, so I'll let everyone else speak first.
If you can chime in if you'd like, Chris, go right ahead.
Okay. So page 42 and 103, I appreciate that you updated the comments that I had there. It had to do with the residential housing plan on page 42 instead of being prescriptive about the type of housing. So I appreciate that. Are you able to get on the screen?
We can.
Okay.
Let me get I have a map, so I need a different attachment. And I'm actually,
On page 42, there was one comment about white versus pink versus orange, which were the original land use map or colors. So we didn't change the wording on that because it was referenced to the original plan that was presented to those focus groups at the time. And unfortunately, Fred couldn't join us this evening. He's our math expert, but he wanted to reiterate that. I think that was one of your edits.
Yeah, I think it was, I can't remember which page it was on, but it made reference to the next page, page 36 actually. that's not a showstopper by any means. That it just
Yeah.
said current white zones designated for residential use, and there's no white zones on the next page. So
Here, let me forward this to you, Elena. And then while we do this, I apologize. I traveled last week and took my adapter out. So Elena will pull it up. I'm sending her the document just with your edits. Another point I wanted to bring up, there were a couple edits that you had asked us to, but they had to do with the focus group. So rewording what the focus group had said, and we decided as a group that we probably want to keep the notes from the focus group, what they actually were, and we can reword maybe where we reference some of those notes in the latter parts of the document, but the focus group pages were summaries of the notes of the focus group. So to amend those and to reword those isn't really reflective of what the focus groups talked
I see.
about.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I have here, but that's not a big concern.
Sorry, would you send to me, Gmail, or to my Garmo, or to my IGA?
No, you're
I sympathize with that problem. Don't worry.
I have several. But
Bless my mess when you see my email.
So
yeah, if you go down, it's there. Now, these are the ones, these are not our edits, this is your document you sent to me, not the most. You
Okay.
sent me a document with edits.
Right.
This is what I'm pulling up right now, or we can pull up. the
that's fine. I got
Well,
both. I got both of them here. I've been working off the final one, so we can go to the final one.
Okay.
Real quick, Chris, I gotta find it. What app did you use to do that?
What app?
Yeah, to put those questions on the side. Jenny and I were trying to figure that out.
Oh, the comments.
Yeah. We could not do it. We were trying to put ours,
It was sent to me in PDF, right?
but the comments on the side that you put.
Yeah.
Like where they showed up on the side,
Yeah.
I can send you, that was a little bit new.
Yeah.
And
We have at my work. We have the Acrobat latest and greatest, best there
Okay.
is. So
Yeah, it made it nice.
yeah.
it
I
was
mean,
very easy to read.
yeah, that's what we use. I mean, so I know like a lot of companies don't have that because it's a costly thing.
If
But-
you have the latest Acrobat, you can highlight and then insert notes based on something, so you can highlight like a passage or a comment.
Yeah, it made it nice.
So yeah, and then what I wanted to say is on 103, I appreciate you guys updating that as well. Sydney, you had that, the public safety analysis and the school analysis for new developments. So I appreciate you put that in there. When you get that up, can we go to page 89, please?
Land use and growth strategy.
Yes, land use and growth strategy. Okay, so I only have two things that I want to recommend. And if we get these two things on there, I'm ready to make a motion to approve this thing. So we're all in a hurry. We can, on page 89, the last paragraph, and we talked about a well-balanced, controlled, a well-planned, controlled, balanced, compact growth approach is essential for long-term health, vitality, and sustainability of the town. Local authorities and planners should encourage development within areas that have access to utilities, promote mix of residential densities, and support proactive neighborhood and planning. I would like to add to that a sentence that says planners should consider the historical ratio of owner-occupied and rental housing. Simple and sweet. Just,
Ratio of historical comparison.
yeah, planners should consider the historical ratio of owner-occupied and rental housing.
Does everyone concur?
Well, why don't we put that to a motion and see if there's a consensus? Chris, you want to make a motion?
I do. I make a motion that we add the sentence on page 89 to the last paragraph, planners should consider the historical ratio of owner occupied and rental housing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I will just say for the record that I'm okay with the plan the way it is without that insertion. That's just my thought. I don't know what others might be thinking.
Yeah, my thought on that is as we look at, I just drove up to McCordsville just over the weekend and they're building these massive apartment complexes right on Mount Comfort Road. You see them, and I know that's something that the community is very interested in, not being a McCordsville, not being a Franklin Township, not being a Fishers. So this is something that will allow us to give us some consideration as we look at developments that come before the Plan Commission.
It's a pretty broad suggestion. I don't see an issue with it in totality. I think, again, the intent, and I think the comment is how do we preserve the small town feel while still understanding that growth is going to happen. Right. So verbiage wise, I don't have any issue with it. I don't think it causes any barriers or things. I mean, it's something that, Brian brought up some good stuff.
And at the same token, it's a great factor to consider. I mean, I would think that the Plan Commission would consider that whether it was in there or not. So
It's
adding
just stating
that,
it's just stating, hey, this is one of the values that we have, which is stated in the document multiple times.
It's actually stated in the action plan for someone of the responsibility matrix. So it, stated in the vision statement too. So it's just reiterating that.
okay. Any other thoughts or comments? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll make that addition.
Very good. The next one's on page 104. In the center of the map, I don't know if you can blow that map up a little bit.
Before we move on,
Yes, I have it at the
I
comment.
just wanted to make sure that we had the word.
Okay, very good. No, it's the future land use map.
Page 104.
Page 104 of a backup material, which would be page 100 for you guys, I believe.
Yeah. I thought this is the one you have up is what you issued to us, right? Last week?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. Rotate it.
Oh, right. Yeah, yep. Yeah, there's no. Okay, so on this map, the suggestion I have here is that the rectangle that is underneath that pink rectangle.
This here.
I'm sorry, I can't see that. Yeah. Right. So that and below. So that the large, I guess, square, really, the large square, that's shown as in this map as the village center. I would suggest that we make that a multicolored zone with the neighborhood town or the residential,
Just this square here.
just the square, right? Not the
That's outside of town boundaries currently.
correct. Not the rectangle. Keep that pink.
Just this bottom.
Right.
We did.
It just,
So we did talk about this
Okay.
as a group, and the reason we did not change it is because if we look at the definition of village center, it's pretty broad and it is inclusive of residential housing as well. So it actually gives you a more flexible, what's the word I'm looking for, category?
Yeah, use over the planned neighborhood.
Right.
Here's the definition here on page 102.
These are intended to be compact and highly integrated master plan developments with a range of uses similar to planned neighborhoods with more dense and intensive uses. Traditional neighborhood design principles should be employed to create a unique and inviting mixed-use environment that are somewhat self-contained. Each village center should include usable public space connected by safe and inviting pedestrian spines that promote walkability to goods and services that meet residents. The central core of each village center is expected to be more intensive with lower density rates located closer to, I don't know that word.
Right. So,
Periphery. Periphery.
right. So one of the things,
Honest to a
Right.
fault.
So back to that map area.
right. So one of the things I heard there was mixed use. So my concern here is that as a comprehensive plan, if we leave that entire area as pink, it's almost as if we're already saying that this town center is going to be that big. You know, I would like us to have that option as we move forward.
It's mixed use though, so it's town center piece won't be that big, but the adjacent housing park, mixed use, whatever.
Right. But what if someone wants to do a standard R2 neighborhood in there?
So,
We'll allow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's inclusive of that. I would say the land use doesn't change the zoning. So if something came up in this area that isn't conducive to the town center description, at least, but it would be maybe traditional neighborhood or something like that. I think this just gives you an opportunity to look at from the kind of the radiating concentric circles of the critical mass that occurs during in town center development, and then what radiates out of that will typically transitional neighborhood or around from like higher density to lower density. If that makes sense from a housing perspective. I understand your concern and happy to make whatever.
Well, and that's
I
what
think
I,
there's enough protection in that definition of village center that give us the authority to say, no, you're not gonna put up.
It's a big definition.
This also matched what was in the original Hancock County future land use around your town boundaries, and what the steering committee had concluded as the appropriate use. But obviously, it's up to you guys to make.
yeah, I'm not suggesting that. I was suggesting a zebra pattern showing the orange and this pink so that it's kind of understood.
So it's orange.
Well,
I
here's,
know, I'm difficult today, sorry.
here's my concern. Let's say you don't show that as the same color as the town center, and somebody comes with an industrial use. If you come to an industrial use and it's the way it's presented now, it's very easy for us to say that's not consistent
Yeah.
with the town center.
Well, you can still say that with residential. You can still say, hey, as a planning commission, or as a comprehensive plan, we're looking at that to be residential, either residential or town center.
Consistent with the town center, so it could be a mixed use.
Right. And that's why if we just stratify it, you know, just you guys know what I mean by stratify or
Yeah,
or
sorry,
zebra.
the hash.
Stripe
What
it, right,
what is
yeah.
it that we're adding to it?
Well, it right now it gives the perception that this town center is a done deal and it's huge, right?
I would like the town center to be 10 times that, but I don't think it's going
Well,
to happen.
How many acres is that right there?
I'm just
Is anybody aware of that?
I don't know. I can pull.
Yeah, it's not that many acres. And is your concern that someone's going to look at this and see village center, but not understand or take the time to read what is entitled in the village center? In
well,
the description?
you're right. So you think so a developer comes in or whoever, you know, and I know there's a lot of discussion around this right now for this area.
Mhm.
How many acres?
I don't know that there's any discussion about this entire area,
I think if it,
but
I think,
It just-
I think a developer, if they want to come in and develop something, they should do their due diligence and read through it and understand how encompassing the town, the village center is. It covers quite a bit.
And I just see, if it's shaded the same, to me, it's indicating whatever your proposed use is, it needs to be consistent with. That's how I see that.
What do you guys think? You guys been a little quiet down there.
I like it how it is. I think it encompasses everything. I mean, right now it's outside of town limits. I know the Steinmeier Road extension's going through there.
Right.
I like to leave it how it is. It does give us a lot of option.
It does say traditional neighborhood design principles should be employed to create a unique and inviting mixed-use environments that are somewhat self-contained. So village center to the planned neighborhood, which the planned neighborhood says the same thing, use of traditional neighborhood design.
Right.
Strongly
So,
encourage.
yeah, so Ryan, the term mixed use there is different than, the R2 or the neighborhood town, the orange, which is more of a neighborhood.
I understand that.
So I'm just, Fisher's got a huge town center, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's kind of where I'm at with this is like, do we really want do we want to make that decision now? And I hear what you guys are saying. Look, we still have an opportunity. If a developer wants to come here and do an R2, are we saying that that's still on the table?
I think anything that's consistent with the town center, which includes residential, would be considered, and then you'd have to consider it on its merits.
Right.
I think you have more control the way it's set up right now.
I agree.
'Cause, again, I said previously, my concern is if you change it, it gives the impression to a developer that you can come in with something that's not consistent with the town center.
It's about 150 acres altogether.
And that's why I like it changing the same color for that. And it gives us an easier way to say no to something that we want to say no to. Whatever that is.
Yeah, I
So they're gonna have to make some public space connected by safe and inviting pedestrian spines that promote walkability to goods.
That
and
means
services.
sidewalks.
So like legitimate. Like I think there is a lot of controls there, but that's my.
My last question, and my question is for Chris. Are you concerned about apartments or number of apartments?
I really hadn't thought about that. I was just looking at, how the comprehensive plan can often be used as, hey, it's in your plan. So, we're going to do what the comprehensive plan says we're going to do. Right. So the striped approach still leaves the door open between either the R2 neighborhood or the town center. So it doesn't constrict what it just leaves it more open.
You are allowed to stripe it like orange and pink. We can hash it if that's what.
So it was orange planned neighborhoods,
Yeah.
large compact master plan tracks with wide range of integrated. I
Yeah.
like it with village center.
Yeah,
personally.
well, and again, just another example, if there was a retail use that was phenomenal, if you change it, maybe it's easier to say no to that because, now we're kind of hedging our bets that we want it to be R2 or residential. I think you want to keep your options available and consider whatever comes along. That's just my,
Yeah, we can always say no.
but Chris, if you want to make a motion,
Well, I think I know what the answer is going to be. Eric, what are your thoughts?
I think we like it like it is. I
Okay.
like it like it is.
All right. All right. Fair enough. So my next question is on page 36. There's a statement down here, or the architectural standards. New Palestine should adopt higher standards than the county, potentially codifying them at the local planning documents, which is something we talked about last month, which we appreciated that you put this in there and that it was discussed. I guess I want us to discuss this as a plan commission right now. How do we implement that?
I think that's up to the plan commission to adopt those standards. Absolutely,
Right. So what we have to develop standards, right?
which is a great idea.
Yeah.
And we should.
Yes.
So do we want to talk about a timeline on how we would do that, or?
Although I'd prefer Ron to be here
Yes.
presiding over that meeting, but
Ron
Okay.
needs to be here.
yeah, because Ron, you know, he has a lot more experience. I would definitely want his input, but yeah, let's bring it at our next meeting. Let's start that process, Chris.
Okay. All right. I wanted that while we had you, oh, yes, that's good. If you could send those to,
Yeah,
to Ron or
already did.
Jim, right?
Or Jimmy, or Ron. or
Yeah,
whoever.
we can report.
Ron,
Or to all of us, or however you want to do it, yeah.
Ron, Jim.
Your next meeting is April 16th, so you can table that.
Okay. I had a note on the extraterritorial jurisdiction. I wanted to ask you guys that question as experts. Can you guys describe extraterritorial jurisdiction and how it might apply for us?
So that is around your, anything that's outside of your town boundaries in your plan. It's actually, you're gonna be in partnership with Hancock County, their land use and zoning. So anything that would be potentially annexed in or hasn't been yet annexed in, that would be considered extraterritorial jurisdiction. Typically what happens is it's a 2-mile boundary, like 2 miles outside of your town boundary is that what's typical across the state. So for instance, anything in an unincorporated area that would be potentially affecting your town directly is what that entails, what that encompasses.
Right, so that 2 miles in, is that basically every direction, right? So I can, at the very tip of Copperstone.
Yep.
But I can go 2 miles and I'm almost at US 40.
Yeah.
Right, okay,
As long as it's unincorporated.
okay.
And the
So-
real concern there, Chris, is going to be when a developer wants to develop outside town limits, and they do that for the purpose of using county development standards as opposed to the town.
Correct.
What I can tell you from experience has been, and thank goodness to Gary Poole and the county, that did happen several years ago, and the developer was very upfront. We're only going to build this neighborhood if we're able to connect to the town's sewer. So the county stopped right then and said, in order for us to even docket this request and to consider it, you bring us proof that the town has agreed to serve your neighborhood as you present it or propose it with sewer. They brought it to us. There were huge density concerns. We didn't reach an agreement, and that project went nowhere. So I definitely applaud the county because before that particular project, that exact scenario happened where there were communities that were built that would not have been approved even without the standards that we are going to implement. They were built, then they connected sewer, and then they were annexed afterwards. It was essentially an end around your architectural standards. So that's why we need standards so that, you know, same thing. If you're outside but you need to connect to sewer, it's easy for us to say, here they are, and you either meet it or you don't. So, but that's the extraterritorial as I see it. And fortunately, the county is now working with the town.
Can you guys send us a links or some articles maybe kind of describing that just so we can all get more savvy with that?
So the APA, the American Planning Association, the Indiana chapter, has a ton of resources for Plan Commission members around all kinds of questions like this. Happy to send you guys the links.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
The next question I had was on 38. There's a map there. It's the same map that we looked at before. Yeah. Can you blow that up again, please?
Sorry, my screen, for some reason, it's like not moving. There we go.
Okay. So in the far west there is a light pink or a light purple, yeah, which is the wellness center, right?
Yeah,
Right. So,
the regional center. Yeah.
okay, then
That's the one.
right behind it is that dark.
Yeah, the town commercial.
Right. So that commercial area that's just south of the wellness center is currently not developed, correct?
Correct.
And then what's to the west there is that Do It Best hardware and all that, right? Okay. So how do does the plan commission, anything that goes into that town commercial, how does that come before the plan commission?
That's already in the PUD.
Said
Everything's-
hospital had a PUD approved.
Hospital approved everything in the PUD, and the planning commission approved everything, so as long as it meets the PUD, then it's approved. As a zoning administrator, I can approve it without going to the planning commission, but if it's a project that might be of scope that might be questionable, then it would go to the planning commission. So like the strip center that's going in there now, it doesn't really have to come to the planning commission, because it's already in the PUD. It meets all their requirements, and
And Jim, that PUD, do you know when that was approved?
well, they bought it in 2019, so like 2020, 21 maybe.
Just curious.
I know that there've been questions in the past about, the Starbucks showing up and some of the other things that have shown up without going through the plan commission. So I'm trying to, do we want to, how do we control anything that goes into there at this point?
You can change the ordinance. The
Well, you'd
ordinance
have to
says-
try to change a PUD and it's been approved.
The PUD you can't change. Yeah, that won't change. You can amend it, but you can't change it. You can make some amendments to it.
And
And
I
if-
don't
if-
think that you can make an amendment that isn't requested
Yeah,
after it's been approved.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's been approved.
Okay. So what control do we have at all of what goes in that area?
None. Well, and the reason I say that, I'm not being a wiseacre, that was approved by the plan commission long before any of
Years ago.
us.
I would assume there were some type of stipulations in that approval, right?
It's all in the PUD, and I have a copy of that.
Okay.
Yep, it talk architectural and everything.
Okay. Is it in our ordinance book or something like that, or can you send it to me?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the other question I had, I think this is what you mentioned early on about, I had a question about the realtor and builders focus group and some of the key takeaways. That's what you're referring to before, right?
Yeah, there were a
Okay.
couple, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the need for more housing density is needed to balance the town's growth with infrastructure dollars. It just kind of sounds like we're heading towards McCordsville, but I get the process there.
I think the intent of that was balancing housing density, we need that tax base to support new infrastructure. Now, what you do with that new, but what you do with that new infrastructure, that's up to you guys, and how much density and housing is up to you. But to have that balance, if you want to support your infrastructure, you acknowledge that you do need more housing density. The degree of that, up to you.
So another question on page 40, there's a reference to a unified development ordinance, UDO. What does that mean? What is that?
And I put the definition down at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, so a unified development ordinance is a local policy instrument that combines traditional zoning and subdivision regulations along with other desired city regulations, such as design guidelines, there's your design standards, sign regulations, and floodplain and stormwater management into one document. So developers would reference that UDO when they would be coming in to present to you.
Okay, so we currently do not have one of those. Is that right?
The county is just getting ready to adopt a UDO. Talked to Kayla today.
Okay.
She's working on that. It's a big process.
Yes, it is.
So it's one of those things we want to see the county
Right.
finish and, some other municipalities, and look at theirs and see if that's what we want to adopt.
Yeah, so they're recommending we do, it sounds like.
Yeah, so the comp plan is
Okay.
land use focused, and then the UDO is zoning. It's like they're complementary.
Okay. All right. Those were all my questions. Overall, I think you guys did a really, obviously, put a lot of effort into this, and it shows a lot of great graphics and a lot of good content, so I appreciate your efforts.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much for answering questions and concerns. And I think with the one addition that we discussed this evening, is there a motion regarding the
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 comprehensive plan with the proposed amendment discussed earlier.
I'll second that motion. So it has been moved and seconded. Are there any other comments, discussion?
Appreciate your hard work.
Thank you very much. All those in favor of approving the comprehensive plan as submitted with the one amendment discussed this evening, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Nice job.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you.
So just, we talk about this real quick. The next step is to have the council officially adopt the plan, and that, the date on that is the 19th of March. Is that right?
And you'll need to publicly notice for a public hearing. So when, when that agenda item comes up, we'll just open the public hearing for comments and then close, and then, and if you'd like a full presentation, let us know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we do not have any new
Yeah,
business
it
on
was
our
next,
agenda.
the 19th.
So I think there's only other one matter, and that is a motion to adjourn.
Well, so, point of question
March,
here,
March 19th, that's when the
Bill, so
RDC,
as we talked earlier about an agenda
6:30.
item for the 16th, I think that's the next stand, is what you was
they're
talking
gonna
about.
look at it, and that's what.
Do
they're gonna-
we
and
add
that's what's
that?
gonna
How do
go
we
to the
capture
next
that?
Coordinate with Ron, because as the
Okay.
president of the plan commission, he sets the agenda.
Right, well, we would, they would probably be captured in the meeting minutes, right?
March
Yeah.
9th.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll go with this.
Yeah,
So if the minutes say that it was requested that on the April 16th meeting on the agenda, that we start the process to consider development standards. But again, that's something that Ron needs to put on there.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that
We'll make
Right.
sure that
lets them know
that's,
we'd like to
right,
do that.
exactly. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That being said, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
It's been double seconded.
Double second.
Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of adjourning, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.